Hey guys, how's it going? It's Chris from Choc Chip, and today's video is going to show you how to attach an ARB Deluxe Awning room to a Tentbox awning. So before I go any further with this video, just remember that if you do enjoy this content, remember to hit subscribe as well as the little bell to receive notifications of when we post some more awesome content in the future. And lastly, don't forget that if you do decide at any point in time to order yourself a Tentbox tent, regardless of which model it is, remember to use my exclusive link in the description below to grab yourself a free awesome gift from Tentbox when ordering your Tentbox tent. So here we go. This is the ARB Deluxe Awning room attached to the Tentbox awning. Now, there's two reasons why I wanted to make this video. The first one was to basically show you how an ARB Deluxe Awning room can be set up on a Tentbox awning. I'm going to show you in a few moments how to unpackage and install this awning room onto the awning. But there's another reason why I wanted to make this little video, and that was because for months and months and months now, I've seen in the Tentbox community Facebook group, people have been posting asking, I've just bought the Tentbox awning and I'm wondering what people are doing for side panels. And I've said, well, look, this is one option. Here's the Deluxe Awning room from ARB. And people have been like, oh wow, does it fit the Tentbox awning? And I'm like, well, yeah, here's a picture of it attached to our Tentbox awning. And then what we found is people will send me a private message afterwards and they're like, are you sure it definitely fits to the Tentbox awning? I'm like, yeah, it really, really does. And then I'll see them back in the group again being like, look, Chris says it fits, but does it fit? Look, I thought I'll make a video, show you and prove to you that it does fit the Tentbox awning, but also show you how easy it is to install it and set everything up. So what I'm going to do is we're going to jump back in time about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to go back to how we've just got the cargo set up with the Tentbox awning, no room, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to get this thing installed on the Tentbox awning. So here we are guys, about 20 minutes earlier, a little bit of time travel there for you. And what we've got here is just the Tentbox cargo set up with the Tentbox awning, and we've got the ARB Deluxe Awning room here in its bag. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unpackage the ARB awning and I'm going to get everything set up ready. And then what we'll do is we'll crack on and get it installed on the Tentbox awning so you can see just how easily everything goes on. So before I crack on and get everything unpackaged, I just wanted to show you what it is that you need to purchase if you have a Tentbox awning. So you've got the ARB at the top, and that's the brand you need to be looking for. And it's got the Deluxe Awning room with the floor underneath. And then basically what you need to be ordering is the 2 meter by 2.5 meter awning room. Now ARB do two versions. They do a 2 meter by 2.5 meter, which is the one you want because that's the size of the Tentbox awning. But be careful because they also do a 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter. So you don't want to order the wrong one. Okay guys, so we're gonna get this out of the bag and we'll get everything unpackaged now. So it's quite a big canvas bag. I'm so used to in the past having tents that you have to, and sleeping bags that you have to try and squeeze back in the bag afterwards. This is actually a decent sized bag for the package it is. Obviously just remember that when you're packaging everything up afterwards, try your best to kind of roll it in as best you can and get all the air out of it. But we didn't really have any problems the first time we did manage to get it back in the bag, no problem. It's a decent sized bag. So when it comes packaged guys, remember when you package it away, you want to try and put it back the same way you found it. It comes with these two sort of tie wraps around here, just tied in basically a bow knot. That essentially just keeps everything packaged together and stops it from sort of expanding out sort of before you put it back in the bag or even while it's in the bag. So essentially we just want to undo them first. Take those off. I'm just going to put them back in the bag for safekeeping, and then we'll just get this unrolled. So we've got the ARB awning room all laid out. Now there's two ways to know whether you've got it the right way around, so I just wanted to run you through that before I sort of take it under the Tentbox awning, getting it ready to set up. Now on the basically you've got two of these channels here, and they're like sort of very flexible corded sort of channels that run all the way across the tent. These essentially need to be on the back and the front. Inside the Tentbox awning, you've got two of these sort of C channels where we're going to slide kind of this through, and that they are basically on the inside metal and the outside metal here. So what we need to do is make sure they're front and back. Now the way to tell which is the front and which is the back is that if I come slightly forward, the channel on the front has a zip here. and the zip, basically you will unzip this channel to install the tent. So this channel here on the front will have the zip along the top, the back one doesn't, but that's how you know if you've got it the right way around. And obviously in terms of top and bottom, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got the sort of black canvas on the bottom and obviously the sort of rest of the material on top. So we're under the Tentbox awning, and the first step to installing the awning room is to take this rear sort of strip here, which is going to represent the back of the awning room, and you need to run it into the C-channel underneath at the bottom at this metal part here. So this metal part attaches to your vehicle, and this is the back of the Tentbox awning. So this is like the back of the case, and there's a C-channel that just runs along the bottom. We're going to run this strip in, and that's going to keep the back part of the awning room up in place. So we'll do that now. So now, as you can see, we've got the first part of the awning room attached to the Tentbox awning by fixing the back part here, this back strip, into the C-channel. Now, a couple of notes just so you can bear in mind when you're actually installing this yourselves. When you're feeding it into the C-channel, it's quite easy to nick the fabric. So be really, really careful as you're feeding it through, just because you don't want to feed it through and rip your fabric. It's a little bit easier when you've got two people, but you saw there how quickly it was for me to do it myself. It's not a problem, but you just need to be mindful of not actually catching the fabric because you don't want to rip your brand new awning. So what we're going to do next is take the front sort of strip of the ARB awning room and attach it to the front C-channel on the Tentbox awning. So as you can see, the next step is to bring this channel out. Now the problem is it's quite tight. So what you need to do is essentially, we need to unzip. I mentioned earlier about this front part being a zip. We need to unzip this, get this C-channel part installed, and then we can zip everything up again afterwards. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So as you can see, we've got this front strip unzipped, ready to install in the C-channel. So what I'm going to do is install that now, and then we'll be able to zip the front of the ARB awning room up, and that's going to keep the awning room up and held in place. Just be careful when you're doing this, guys, just to remember not to nick the fabric. It's very, very easy to catch it, especially if you're installing it with one person. So just be really, really careful, take your time. Just feed it through gently away, and come on. Okay guys, so basically we've got this strip installed in the C-channel. As you can see, the zip's sort of hanging under here. And essentially the next step would be to connect this zip and zip it all together. Now, because of the weight of the awning room, what I've found is actually best is where the awning room connects to all the poles, you get these little sort of C-clips here. And what we find is best is to actually attach the C-clips along each horizontal pole either side before doing the zipping, just because it takes the weight off the awning room and it makes it easier to do the zipping up. So I'm going to do that now and attach all these little clips onto the horizontal rails. Okay guys, so we've got the horizontal clips all on. Now the next step, probably just to make this easier for yourself, is just to do the vertical clips as well on both of these vertical poles. So I'm just going to do that now as well. Okay, so all the horizontal and vertical clips are on. Now just to be mindful, it's semi-windy today where we're doing the filming, so having these all clipped in place is going to make it significantly easier for you when you start having to zip this up. I tried doing it earlier the other way by doing the zip first, and it was just so heavy and I was battling with the wind. So this is definitely the best way of doing it. So I'm going to get it zipped up now, and then we'll move on to the next steps after that. Okay guys, so everything's attached, we've got it all zipped up, and basically the main structure of the room is sort of up in place. It's attached to the Tentbox awning. We've got it attached to both C-channels. We've got everything clipped in place on the vertical and horizontal poles. But the next really important part is to peg the sort of deluxe awning room to the ground. You can't really see it because of the angle where we're filming from, but the wind's coming in from this direction, and even just with a slight wind, the whole side of the tent is actually sort of caving in. So we're going to get it pegged down, and that's going to keep everything in place, and it'll keep that structure of the room and just make it considerably easier to use while you've got it all set up. Okay, so as you can see, it's relatively easy, just like a tent or anything else, just to get it all pegged up. Now, the way that the awning room works and the way you can peg it in, it's basically got pegs in each strips at each corner, and also in the middle of each side. So it just gives it a nice sort of sturdy groundedness, and it's not gonna go anywhere. Okay, so everything's all pegged down. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to open up this front door and let you have a bit of a look inside, and you can see how much room you've got. So we've just skipped a few steps there, guys, just to get it all set up for you, just to give you a better idea visually of what it all sort of looks like. So essentially what you've got is you've got a big single door on the front and 2 individual doors on either side, as well as at the back you've got a big door on the back that gives you access to your vehicle. So if you need to obviously go inside your vehicle or your back seat, you can access that through the back of the awning room. So here you've got your big sort of front waterproof outer door, and then on this side you've got your fly netting. So essentially with the front door, it zips up either side and then just rolls up and toggles at the top. The fly netting sort of unzips kind of almost like a C, and then it sort of toggles up and attaches on the sides. The side doors, outer panels, toggle upwards, and then essentially there's a center zip on either side, and all of that can toggle off sort of around the corner. So everything can toggle up and out the way. You can have it as open or closed as you want to. Where we're doing the filming today, we're sort of out in the countryside. There was a bit of a wind coming in while we were busy setting this up earlier, and what it was doing, it was sort of caving in the side of the tent. But when we've opened up and toggled up the outer sort of waterproof doors, there's no sort of caving whatsoever. Obviously the air's flowing through, but you know, you can have it set up how you want to when you're camping. You might just want the fly netting down, you might want the doors open completely. Obviously that's weather dependent as well. You know, obviously if you want to be in there away from the weather and the elements, then you can have all the doors down. One of the sort of, I guess it's a downside, but it just is what it is with the nature of the room, is that if you were caught in a night and it was really windy and really rainy, I think the sort of the room would be blowing sort of quite a lot, you know, particularly if the wind was coming in from one direction. I mean, obviously the key to it is obviously air flowing through to stop that from happening, but they are quite large sort of fabric panels. The space is quite large, so it's going to pick up the wind. No, it's nice and spacious. It's a nice, fantastic room. We'll just jump inside now and have a bit of a look at some of the little features inside. Okay guys, so as you can see, I'm probably a little bit too tall for this sort of scenario here, but it's, you know, it's fine. It is what it is. So here's inside of the tent. What I wanted to show you was this here. They've put this up so you can store your various bits and bobs here. So some cool little netted pockets. Obviously here you've got your door, which gives you access to your vehicle. This unzips from the bottom up and over and basically toggles down and attaches at the bottom, as opposed to at the top where the rest of the doors do. Not too sure why that's the case. I don't know, maybe it's just going to give you more access to your doors. I don't know, but yeah, everything attaches at the bottom. The fabric on the bottom of the awning room is essentially a sort of like heavy PVC tarp kind of, you know, thing you'd have covering your garden furniture, typical sort of ground sheet thing for your tent. And then essentially that's kind of it. It's just a nice cozy little box room. You wouldn't necessarily use it, I don't think, if you were just stopping somewhere for like a quick stay. I've talked in my Tentbox cargo reviews about the idea of having the tent box and that you can stop somewhere and just pop up the tent and sleep, or you can go somewhere and set up on a campsite and have the full setup. This would come under, for me, having a full setup. You know, you may be stopping 2 or 3 days or a week or somewhere on a campsite, and you want to have the awning room for the, whether it's the privacy or the weather or whatever your needs might be. Just having the awning room instead of just the awning just kind of gives you that little bit of privacy or shelter in them such situations. But you know, we've done camps with the awning room, we've done camps just with the Tentbox awning up and no awning room, and they both have their kind of, you know, times to be used, if that makes sense. But it's a really good little bit of kit, relatively inexpensive at just over £200, but it definitely sort of gives you that extra little bit that you may or may not need while you're stopping, particularly on a campsite or, like I said, somewhere for a few days on the trot. So there we go, guys, that was it, nice and easy. So as you can see, the ARB Deluxe Awning room does indeed fit on the Tentbox awning. It's very, very easy to set up. Bit easier with 2 people than with 1 person, but still managed to do it. It's a little bit faffy with the toggles and the doors and things like that, but you know, 5 minutes or so and it's all set up and ready to go. Like I said, just to recap, a couple of little things. When you're feeding these top panels on the front and rear into the C channels on the Tentbox awning, just remember when you're feeding the fabric through, just to make sure you don't actually catch the fabric and rip it, just because it is a little bit delicate. Like I say, you're not in any danger, just don't yank it in, just make sure you just feed it through nice and gently. And apart from that, just like I say, make sure it's all pegged down and that you're playing around with the pegs. Like I said, if it's going to be out on a really windy day, well, it might just be moving around quite a bit. But the wind's settled down now where we're filming, and it's you know, it's just barely moving, very, very light breeze, and it looks really good. So yeah, so very, very happy. The ARB Deluxe Awning room with the Tentbox awning. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time.